I like swords. Hey there, guys. So today I just wanted to talk to you about a few things that are maybe making me a bit anxious about video games. Just a little few things. Most of the time, if you consider games, I mean, people just accept things like DLC, late release dates for certain countries, maybe season passes and all that. There's a lot of things out there in video games that I feel are just bad business practice. I mean, sure, they get money, but they don't add to a game. In fact, they make games worse and make people pay more for games than they in fact should be paying. I mean, let's just take the standard practice now. You'll get a game comes out, say it comes out February, and it'll come out with a day one season pass promising DLC coming out over the future months. And I know people will defend this, like thinking, oh, they couldn't get the game out in time for the release. I mean, well, what the fuck? Why wouldn't they just release the game later and give us a better game then? I mean, what's the problem? Surely your aim is to give people a good enough experience that they'd want to buy future sequels. I mean, if you want to pile DLC on the sequels, okay, once your game's set, but you've got games like The Division coming out, never before seen franchise, and it's already got a season pass with 3 DLCs planned. I mean, what the hell? Why don't you just bring it out later with all the DLCs? I mean, sure, people are gonna not forget about it, and oh, hey, Skype. The fact of the matter is, the business plan now that people can get away with, and they know they can get away with it, is that people will buy basically the same game twice. You'll say, get a game for £40 or $60 in American money, and then you'll have a DLC pack that comes out worth about, say, half that, 25. Then you get dumb costume packs that'll make it up. If you want to get all the content in a game that there is to get, you're ending up basically paying for the same game twice, which is actually a way that they get around the regular retail price, which is quite scandalous, actually. And people just let this happen. They let it happen, and they're like, oh, but it's DLC, you don't have to buy it. Well, you shouldn't have to buy it in the first place. It should be in the game. I mean, as a consumer, surely you've bought the game already. Why should you have to pay for the same game twice? I mean, you've only got half of a game. Why would you want to buy half of a game? I mean, wait for a Game of the Year edition or something with all the DLC in it that sells for basically the same amount. And they even milk people out of that, which basically means they've made you buy the game 3 times if you decide to buy a Game of the Year edition after paying for all the DLC. I mean, I'm going to stretch on what the biggest offender is. I mean, you've got stuff like Call of Duty will unleash packs of 4 different maps for multiplayer. Add nothing to the story, just maps. And then you've got stuff that even gives you guns that are better than the ones that are in the game, which is basically pay to win, and I don't even want to get into that argument today, but seriously. And then you've got stuff like BlazBlue, the fighting game. They make you pay £5 to get an extra character. You've already bought the game for what? £40 if on the first day. That £5 is worth a fraction of what you've already paid for all the characters already on the disc. And I didn't want to start Marvel vs. Capcom with its on-disc DLC that's already there, but Capcom are forcing you to pay to buy extra things on the game that are already there that they've already planned for. I mean, seriously, what the hell is that? Oh, that was one of the worst offenders, but I digress. But when did we get to the point where major games can be released with DLC already planned, already scheduled? Developers can release games early to take full advantage of hype and then gain twice the money off of things that they should be getting, and people just are putting up with it. They just sit there and I don't have to buy the DLC. Oh wait, shiny, I must buy DLC. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I have been an offender of buying DLC, but that's simply because on games like fighting games, you want to try out the new characters as they could be part of the meta. You might need to become... you might actually need to play the game effectively because you need to learn the characters. If you buy a character on a fighting game, you're not going to be able to get those. But then we've even got the worst offenders. I'm talking FIFA. I'm talking Black Ops. I'm talking UFC, WWE games. Games that effectively repackage the same game with a shinier coating and pass it off as being a new game. That's pretty much, you've just bought DLC for they straight out as a new game. I mean, I'll just complain about that till the end of time, but obviously this is supposed to be out DLC. I count the games as DLC if they don't add anything new to the mechanics, but obviously here I shouldn't talk about that much. But it's a problem. I'm definitely saying it's a problem. Right, now that's talking about the DLC that effectively is part of the game. I mean, I'm not talking about the horribleness, which is Fanservice DLC, Dead or Alive, and their 15 costumes with the same character that makes the boobs flap a different direction. I don't even want to talk about that. But it just drives me utterly insane that people would defend DLC practice. I mean, it's obviously businesses just trying to grab more money off people more effectively, and it works because people accept it. Because there's this whole myth surrounding the whole act of, oh, you don't have to buy DLC. Well, to be fair, if you're playing a game and DLC is needed to continue playing the game on a competitive level or even on a storyline basis, then what the heck? I mean, you're not going to get somebody who goes, oh, I'm not going to buy the DLC, I'll just read up the storyline online, because that's not the experience that you want. You have to buy it because it's part of the experience that you have been denied because the developers have gone, oh, we'll just dangle this cherry in front of their faces and see if they bite. And that cherry should still have been part of the cake that was the game, to be honest. Because if it's not part of the game, then you haven't got the full game. And if you haven't got the full game, what the hell did you pay the money for? There's no point. I'm going to tell you a story about the worst offender I ever saw, right? Operation Raccoon City. It was a game that came out for Xbox 360. It was rushed out. It was a Resident Evil game. And they had a story with 7 chapters. And it was a pretty mediocre game. It wasn't bad, it wasn't good, but the DLC marketed an entirely new story with centering around the actual Umbrella Corporation's characters. Now what they did basically was they reskinned the original characters, they reskinned the story, they had you go through the exact same story as these different characters, they tweaked tiny little bits and marketed it as a full alternate DLC storyline, which frankly cost half the game. And it was marketed like that, and it wasn't anything special. It was effectively you played through the game twice, and it's practically the worst case of DLC I've ever seen, and it should be ranked as one of the most horrible scams that Capcom have ever done, but I don't think anyone actually really played Raccoon City that much to even notice that it happened. But honestly, it just raged me out so much. I'm like, what the fuck? Why did I pay this money just to play the game again? And, I mean, I'm not a fan of zombie games, so really it was one of the worst things for me to have to put up with buying the same dull game twice because me and my friend wanted to play through it, and we thought, hey, let's play through the other story because we're having fun. I mean, I was having fun simply because I was playing with my friend. I mean, you do that sometimes. I mean, if a friend wants to go through it, then you feel you have to get it too so that you can be on the same level, and frankly, it completely outraged me. I was like, the fuck? What is with this? And my friend was even pissed off too because he's a big fan of Resident Evil. I wasn't that big a fan, but I was playing with him because he's my friend, you know? Anyway, I decided to make this video because of my growing despair on what's happening. I mean, one of the biggest holdouts for not doing DLC I ever saw was Nintendo, and they've started doing it with Smash, and they've started doing season passes for other things, and oh god, it makes me so upset to feel that now the industry standard is conning people out of their money, and there's nothing we can do about it because everyone's just accepting what's happening. I mean, I want to speak out about it. I'd rage this guy about how shitty DLC is and that we shouldn't buy it. But the fact is that it's become a mainstay part of gaming, and it shouldn't be. And honestly, I don't know what I can do about it because I can't go at people and say, hey, fuck off, don't buy that DLC or I'll beat your face in. Nope, that's not going to work. In fact, it's not very polite either. So, really, I don't know what to do. I mean, I can make this rant video, nothing's going to change, nothing's really going to stop people buying the DLC. They'll be like, oh, but I need it, I must have it. It's not as bad as the whole microtransactions thing. As far as I see, microtransactions are one of the most hype-inducing things ever, but DLC is at least content that will stay with you, and it's not consumables. I mean, that's one of the good things I can say about it, but it's still the lesser of two evils. I mean, the way I've always thought of it is if something's evil, then you shouldn't really put up with it. Why would you ever put up with, like, a situation where you have to take one splinter out your foot? I mean, if you've got a big splinter and a little splinter, you take out both splinters. You don't just take out the big splinter and say, it's alright. But let's just get on to the fact of why DLC is properly bad instead of ranting it. Let's see. DLC is destroying the industry as we know it, as it's become a standard. It has corrupted the idea of making a game for a game's sake. There are still a few holdouts. There's a new guy who came out with Undertale, and that's got no DLC, and it's still a fantastic game. Kudos to him. But the big businesses seem to have gotten to a point where they think that nothing can stop them, so they can just milk people for all the money that they can get and then say, well, you're not going to stop buying it, ha 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 ha. And it's like they're laughing in people's faces. And obviously, I mean, as a gamer, I feel like I have to buy DLC sometimes. I mean, if I really enjoy a game, I need to feel like I've had the whole experience, and if I've already paid for about half an experience, I feel like I have to go the whole way. I shouldn't have to feel that. I should feel when I get a game that I've had the whole experience and it was glorious, and then that makes me want to buy the next game. If I've had to pay a load of DLC on one game and then I get another game come out and saying, oh no, I'm not even going to bother buying the game from the start because it was such a drain on my wallet the first time, I'm not going to buy the game then. Unless there are some variables like friends are all playing it or I have to record it for a YouTube video. But I honestly feel it puts me in a very delicate situation, and nobody should ever put their consumers in that situation. I mean, it's effectively, controlling their own impulses. I mean, no company should feel like they have the right to do that. It's not nice, and eventually the consumers will rebel against it once they've gone through enough stress, I imagine. And again, I know I'm going to get people saying, oh, nobody's forcing you to buy DLC, but honestly, it really feels like you are. Once you buy the game, you're hooked into that agreement with the person, in that I want to have the experience of your game. Oh, you've given me 3/4 of your game. Well, where's the other quarter? Oh, I have to pay this much to get it. It's only $5. Fine, I'll get the next point. Oh, wait, there's 4 more parts of your game and they all cost $5. Oh, well, I've already gone in once. Maybe I'll have to go in the whole lot because now I can't justify that $5. And then you're done. You're gone. They'll take your money, they'll be like, ha ha ha, and running all the way to the bank with your money for your sailor suit costume for Captain Falcon or whatever. But I'm well aware this is a rant. I know this isn't going to change anything. However, I'm hoping if I can reach a few of my viewers and maybe let them know what's happening, give them a better understanding of what the DLC culture is doing. Maybe I can help them to understand. Maybe I can help people to maybe save their money and spend it on something more worthwhile. I don't know. Anyway, guys, thanks for listening to this, if you did. I've been Magna Rants 2, and this has been an impromptu rant video. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye-bye.